Just the back and forth momentum swap. That there's a big rock. Here comes Romero. But a pull counter.
There we go. We have a champion, ladies and gentlemen.
What's good, y'all? Romero 17 here, and today we're going to have some of our roles over at EA Sports Vancouver. Cool thing about this too is that the devs were actually right by us where we were rolling, and one of the devs is a black belt that both myself and Marshall do get a chance to roll with, so that was pretty cool. First roll was against Marshall Mine, obviously you guys see right there. We're trying to work a little bit of open guard. I get into a position where I try to pass over to north-south, and just as I'm about to get there, where I usually try to look to transition to side control and then attack, Kamuri does a good job of turning in and facing. This is an early roll, but I think the coolest part about it is that if you guys saw the previous clip that I've uploaded with the session with Tristan, we were learning a lot of K-guard entries from into like a heel hook, backside 50-50 and whatnot, and then attacking a triangle. And I was just thinking about, while I was rolling, and then Henry and I were talking about it as we were like drilling and practicing shit. He tries to wrestle up on the exchange there. That was really cool. But we spoke about how in game the only real focus is full guard, like full guard, and there's not enough variation in different guards that people use in MMA, such as butterfly guard on bottom, or even things like K guard. So having them being right by us as we're rolling, real cool. In the corner you see Z Hunter and the other black belt Jeremy are rolling, who both myself and Marshall get to roll with. So right back here in the open guard position. Here's a lot of hand fighting. For a lot of people, if you guys aren't well versed in it, it's a battle between trying to get inside foot position and trying to get inside head of control. So both kind of battling in this position here. Marshall's trying to get, I know what he's looking for. He's looking to kind of drag in, trying to get to some type of Senkaku variation, but I was like, nah, it's not gonna happen. But does a really good job there. And the other thing is too is that as he tries to stand up, when he tries to stand up, I call it he's kind of like opportunistically standing up, so maybe if I make a mistake or something on the feet, he'll be able to take something. But as he tries to stand up in this position, I start getting real heavy on my hand fighting, and I think a moment happens here where once I get him stumbling off of one of my snaps, he's like, all right, I'm taking my ass back down. But there's a snap, there's a stumble, he's like, nope, I'm taking my ass back down to the mat. But it's really good recognition. It takes a bit to get comfortable with trying to grapple on the feet. And leg entries are a really good way to kind of stifle somebody that's relatively fast, because you have to respect those entries. Leg attacks, especially like heel hook entries and all that, it's not something to just think you can speed your way out of. You do need to take the time to understand how those entries work, which is why I'm able to kind of deny those entries there as he tries to scoot in to the guard. The roll is over, and that's going to be it for a fun roll with Marshall. Next up, we have Bayliun. You guys probably know him over on MMA OnPoint. Also a commentator for ESFL, who's his voice that you guys hear on the intro for my videos there. We initiate the single, tries to roll through on the momentum, which is a good attempt to try to initiate a scramble. He's actually able to get back up, but we get into the front headlock position, snapping back down, and we go into the back take. And it was really cool. I've rolled with Bayliun and Marshall before over in ESFL Las Vegas, where we went over to, I think, the Carlson Gracie gym. We got to roll over there for about 2 hours, so that was really fun. So it's just cool. It's almost like a nice reunion of friends rolling, grappling, and whatnot. Now with Bayliun here, what we try to do here is working a lot of wrist control, which is something that I spoke to the devs about that needs to be dynamically expanded upon. Everybody says Dagestani handcuff for wrist control. Like, bro, it's just wrist control. But everybody knows it because Khabib made it so popular. But for me, as a grappler, as you guys can see, I like the usage of these type of things. Like right here, I'm using the wrist control to assist in smothering in side control, using my chest pressure to kind of get my weight on Mr. Bayliun, and then being able to kind of shift back and forth. So more dynamic uses of wrist control. Say right here, I use a kind of circle off to the other side. I want to see them be able to work this into, say, the backside position, because the current backside position, to do all that type of movement, it'll take a little bit too much. Here we end up getting into a back flat. I didn't want to face crank Bayliun because he was defending the rear naked choke at first, and I'm like, I don't really have to go OD here. So we still have a bit of wrist control, and we're going to use that wrist control. It's going to assist us in slowing down him trying to turn. Once we get the shoulder pressure that we need, tries to turn, we end up going mount. There's Marshall grappling with Mr. Jeremy. Jeremy, I think, is going to get into some type of leg entry, and he's actually able to turn out the heel, and Marshall submits right there. That was a really good attack from Jeremy. That dude is nice. So here we're in the mount position. Another thing I wanted to talk about with the devs, which I ended up talking about with them, is usage of mount. Right, there needs to be a low mount and a high mount variation in these games. Currently in game, it's only one specific mount. It's just mainly kind of like that high mount. The person tries to hold on bottom. But with the ground and pound and how it works in the game, it limits a lot of what we're able to do, both as the person on top and as the person on bottom, right? Because a lot of space needs to be conceded for the person on bottom to move. But when you're throwing strikes, like, that's going to be all the space that you need, and you shouldn't have to really wait to just slip one strike to really be able to move. But here, Bayliun's trying to push up on the hips. Yeah, I try to trap his hands under with my knee, and I believe I attack an Americana from here. And I use the Americana as a threat. Either I can use this kind of get into like an armbar if need be. I guess he tries to turn in. I use that to set up the arm triangle. We're gonna glide on over with the wrestler special, and I believe we get the submission with a couple seconds left. And it was good. It's a good, nice little good roll. Bayliun's always fun to roll with, and I can't wait for him to get his first fight very, very soon. Here we roll with the black belt that was just rolling with Marshall. I said, "I'm like, you want to stand or you want to go? You want to go on underground?" He's like, "Oh, I'll stand. I'll stand." I was like, "All right, cool." So usually with black belts, if they want to stand with a wrestler, they're usually trying to do like some anti-wrestling thing. So there I noticed, okay, judo type of stuff. So he's kind of giving like little weird looks, kind of feinting with the elbow there. I try to go for an elbow pass dump. Use that elbow pass right into a back take. We're going to be able to lock. See where we are. I notice there's people there, so I take them over here. And then from there, off of that takedown, we're going to transition into the side control position. And right where I need to be, where my hands are locked. Unfortunately, I don't recall whether, I think it was maybe Bayliun's elbow that hit me or his elbow that hit me, but some blood appears, so it kind of stops the roll a little bit, which sucks because I got into a really good position where I like to be. So kind of a bit of hand fighting here. My word of advice to wrestlers when they get into jiu-jitsu is really start to understand where your chest and your head and your lower body's being aligned in jiu-jitsu. Same thing like in wrestling, but there are some adjustments based on the threats that are available when you're doing jiu-jitsu, so keep that in mind. Now we're gonna have our roll against Mr. Tristan Connolly. He's an awesome dude to talk to, especially after the rolls, just kind of like discussing certain things. He was teaching us a bunch of K-guard entries, so that kind of let me know, all right, so he's gonna be big on trying to get into some leg entanglements. Another thing is that I was trying to go in order. I'm the type of person where I try to increase the difficulty of my rolls as I go on, so this was perfect for me. However, I went from Marshall to Bayliun. Trust grabbed me, but Trust is a white belt, so that was kind of almost like a break round. Then Jeremy grabbed me, and then Tristan grabbed me, but I wanted to go with Z Hunter first before grabbing Tristan. But both of the black belts at EA Sports Vancouver grabbed me before I could roll with Zach, which sucked. But not really. Well, they really suck because obviously I still get to roll with a high caliber individual. So right there, he's doing a lot of what black belts do, which is really smart against wrestlers. Like, you're using those wrestle up entries to kind of force some type of initiation there on the ground there. I use the elbow pass to kind of initiate an escape, although he does a good job of standing right back up. For if he had stayed there, it would have opened up an opportunity for me to go and attack the side control position. But I call it like false entries, right? Like you're creating the entry, you're creating the reaction, hoping that they turn out, and it's going to give you some type of entry down the ground. So there's a lot of like up and down movements and level changes from Tristan here. I believe he tries to take a shot around this point. All right, now it's I think it's a bylock entry or some variation. There's like the little shot attempt, tries to sit down to guard. I disengage a little bit here. From here, we're getting to a collar tie situation where we're in the tie up. And if I remember, this man took down Michel Pereira a couple times too. So here, try to drag through, but he's able to isolate the wrist. From here, tries to initiate a shot by the wall. I'm able to deny that, get to the over-under position. Tries to initiate a foot sweep. Watching my weight, keep my level low. A block off at the thigh. Get ourselves an inside trip, and we land directly right into the half guard position, which is exactly where I want it to be. I talk about this a lot in game. Be where you want to be. Don't just grapple just for the sake of grappling. Have a plan of where you need to go. So this is one of my favorite positions to be in. I'm really comfortable here. I have a lot of submissions there, but I believe there's about 10 seconds left in the round. We ended up finishing up here, and then I discussed kind of teaching him my inside trip, like a little bit of a setup, bringing down my head off to the same side, timing when the leg is going forward, little things like that. But overall, this is a really, really fun trip. The devs had a fun time watching us roll around and being able to bring a couple of these ideas and concepts in front of them and being able to show them that in person. Especially myself, I talk a lot of people say like you guys need to bring me over to EA Sports so I can show them like what wrestling is supposed to look like, how grappling is supposed to look like, especially in MMA. So it was really cool to be able to show them how that all works, especially with grappling alongside a former UFC fighter in Tristan Connolly, and him able to teach me a couple things on the ground and me showing him some stuff over in neutral. So that was a really, really fun and great experience. Rolling with all the other content creators was awesome as well. And I'm glad you guys were asking for all the footage that we can get from Vancouver. But we will be uploading motion capture next and some gameplay testing. So, Verse 17, I appreciate y'all. Much love. Take care. And have a wonderful weekend. I'm out of here.